met since the year started, and I am so delighted that we can start the year on a good note with a presentation, and then hope that we can continue in this way to meet every month and to share our experiences and to learn something new, and generally to build up our community of practice and share knowledge with each other. I really welcome you. And so I would like to just start by going through you have all received the PowerPoint presentation, and so we shall be going through that. And so I would like to just have to share my screen. Okay, can everybody see that?
Yes, Karen, we can see it.
Okay, thank you very much. So we are going to be going through our session. This is our 6th session, the gender liaison session, and we are going to be looking at gender transformative programming, but today we shall be looking at gender analysis. But before we go into that, we have our agenda, and it starts with a welcome and greetings from participants. So I'd just like to go through the participants as I can see them, and then we shall be able to say a hello, and a little bit later you'll be able to share your highlights. So for now, I just want us to greet each other as we go through. I'll start with Seradi.
Hello, thank you, Karen. Good morning and good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be part of this discussion, and I also welcome you all in 2023. I hope to learn more and share whatever we are experiencing for this intervention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Florida. Mzi?
Good morning in Canada, and good evening in the African continent, and I think it's also good morning in the Pacific. I've got a cold, but I'm okay. Happy 2023, everyone. I'm excited to meet you all in this new year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Zakia?
Good morning, good evening, good night, Honorable Kendall.
Hey, dear.
And all colleges organize a wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ndinelao? Comas?
Hi, I just joined now.
Okay, we are just greeting.
Yeah, good evening, good morning, everyone. It's Ndinelao here from Namibia. It's heavily raining here with thunders and lightning. So,
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome very much. Welcome. Faith?
I'm glad to meet you and compliment for 2023.
Okay. Faith, CYO?
Good morning, good evening, everyone. Happy New Year to you all. I'm happy to be here as well. I hope to learn more. We have a whole program for the year, so I'm happy and excited to learn more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Chandi? Chandi, you can unmute.
Hi.
Chandi, you seem to be having some connection problems. Maybe we'll come back.
Hi, Veronica. I'm so sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, now we
can you hear me?
Wonderful. Yes. Yes.
Hi. Good morning and good evening, everyone. I'm finding difficulties because of the power cut. Please excuse me if you feel like. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Chandi.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. we will understand that in so many places, sometimes the power is not so steady and you might go on and off, but we are glad that you're with us.
Yeah, I think you can hear me clearly, right?
Very, very clearly.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Shall we move to Plavio?
Yes, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Locke. Happy New Year to you all. And I'm happy that I will be willing to share a lot and hear a lot from you people this year. Otherwise, I wish everybody a nice session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alok. I'm just wondering, that is all we are for now?
For now, Karen, yes. Those are all the partners that we have on for now.
Okay, okay. All right. I hope that others will join as we go along, because this is our very first session.
Someone just joined us. Actually, it's Valerie from REAP.
Okay, okay. All right. So maybe as Valerie settles, I want to just say thank you all for coming in. Valerie, are you ready to maybe move your camera a little bit so that we can see your face? Yes. Yeah, you're okay now. Now we can see you, just we can't hear you. Valerie, we cannot hear you. While Valerie
yes.
Well,
Sorry,
Valerie,
Karen, I was just going to say, while
go ahead.
Valerie is connecting, Spark also joined us.
Yes, I've seen Moama. Moama, would you like to say hello?
Hello, good evening. Mohammed here from Pakistan Spark.
Good evening. Good evening, Moama. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. So, Valerie, I don't know whether you've been able to unmute.
Karen, she's saying that she's going to log out and then try to log in again and look at the audio settings.
Okay, thank you so much. I think it's important why I'm trying to get hold of Valerie is because she's a new partner, and I would like her to introduce herself to the group and also be part of everything that we are doing. So thank you very much. I would like to move, as we wait for Valerie to rejoin, I would like to move to the feedback from the previous session. I know it's been quite some time, so maybe we have also forgotten. The last session, we looked at gender transformative programming. We did have a session after that, but due to technical challenges, we did not record, and therefore we did not deal with the subject matter that we had planned for that particular session. And so that's what we are going to do today. But from your feedback on the Lime survey, we talked about how approaches, what was useful to you was how approaches to gender equality influences programs and activities, because we looked at gender equality and the types of equality that there are. Then you also said that talking about the theory of change for Girls Inspire was useful, and trying to look at what is our vision and what do we really want to get to, and then planning after that for every activity. So that was useful. However, there was feedback that said that there were some things that could be improved and that you needed more explanation on. The first one that came from most of the people who responded was, how do we conduct gender analysis? And I'm glad to say that that is what we are going to look at today, and possibly in the next meeting. And then we are talking about how do we involve men in the transformative process. And you also wanted to know or to have a plan for the knowledge sharing sessions, which again, we have already done. So Valerie, are you able to greet us now? Just introduce yourself and say where you're from and which group.
All right. Good. It's evening here. It's morning there. So hi everyone. So my
Valerie, you've muted again.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Valerie Nekesa. I am from Kenya, and the organization is RIP. We are currently implementing the CALL project in 1 ward and in 4 villages, the Girls Inspire project. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Valerie. Valerie, you will find here a group of people that come from 14, you're all in 14 different projects from Africa, from Asia, from the Pacific. And what we normally do in these sessions is learn something new, share something new, because as gender liaisons, we are the ones that drive the gender agenda forward in our organization, so that we make sure that we understand certain concepts and certain aspects of gender, so that we are able to also pass this on within our organizations. So I want to welcome you very, very much. I can also see Esther Novella. Esther, are you able to unmute and say hello?
Hello, my dear.
Hello. Good evening, Esther.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm very fine. For you, it is morning, right?
Yes, it's morning, and I'm feeling well.
Oh,
I'm
well.
so happy to see you again, and they're all people. Yes.
Welcome, welcome very much. Welcome. So, ladies and gentlemen, we were just going through the feedback from the previous session, and two of the things that wanted more explanation on, or something that could be improved, was that the members felt that it would be nice to have a schedule of the things that we are going to be doing. And so we developed that schedule and we shared it with you. So I'll just highlight it just a little bit so that we can be able to come together. We are going to look at the gender analysis, the background today. Then we are going to look at the applications in the next session. We are going to be looking at the gender scorecard, marginalization and inclusion. We are going to be looking at budgeting. And then in the middle of the year, I thought it would be useful to have a session where we are just sharing, because at that time we shall be having an echo. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Veronica, am I okay now?
Yes, you're okay now, Karen. I think it was probably just a request to all our dear partners. I think we can
mute, right? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm hoping that I can be heard. And if I'm not heard, please somebody unmute and tell me that they cannot hear me. But otherwise, let us just mute just for a few minutes. So I was saying that in number 6 on our slide, we are going to be in June. We are going to be looking at 2022 and 2023 and the way forward. And the reason for doing this is to try and learn from the year that we have had, and to try to see if we are going forward, what are some of the things that we need to change. So by the time we are meeting in June over this and knowledge sharing and the way forward, I will already have been encouraging you in each of the meetings to try and put together some of the things that will help you to write your new contribution agreement, the lessons that you have been learning, so that when we come together and we discuss them, then we are on the same page as to where we want to go forward. And then we shall continue with session 7 to 11. I'll not read through all of them. And one thing I want to point out about these sessions is that most of the time, our sessions are held in the morning. And unfortunately, because we hold them in the morning, this is almost in the middle of the night for the Pacific partners. And it means that usually the Pacific partners are not able to join us. And so we would like to, with your permission, we would like to sort of alternate the sessions, so that sometimes we have the sessions where the Pacific partners, where it is evening for the Pacific partners or morning for the Pacific partners, which means that for us in Vancouver, it would be at night. And so it would be your morning. So that instead of having these sessions in your evening for most of you, we would have them in the morning, then I would have the session at night, and Veronica and I then would be able to log in with the Pacific partners because we feel that they are missing out on a lot. So this is something that we will discuss. Perhaps we will let you know before the next meeting what has been agreed on, and then as a group we can agree as to whether those times are going to be suitable or not for each one of us. So the tools for this particular slide on the knowledge sharing and capacity building, remember that we developed it together, but I want to encourage you. If you look at the last page, the last column on notes, Chandi had agreed to share on what she had learned on gender analysis, and that is in gender analysis applications. I want to encourage each one of you, if there is something that you can share in any of these columns, except for the one where we are all doing knowledge sharing, there is something you have that you can bring to the group, even if it is just a 5-minute presentation or a 10-minute presentation. I would love to have input from all of you so that you can share your knowledge. This is how we build each other. And so I would love to have everybody coming in to do that. So kindly, if you can, just send me an email, tell me on this particular topic, I would like to say something. I would like to say it for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, really doesn't matter. We shall give you the time to do that. And is there anyone with a comment on the tools and the topics that we are going to be having?
To me, I see that the topics are okay. And we are good to go with it because it is in line with everything we are doing for our community. So, and I will also be able to share any information that I feel like I can share with the rest of the team. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jacob. So we go now into the next slide on updates from the gender liaisons. Now, we would like to give you 2 minutes each just to highlight any gender activities or emerging issues or opportunities that you may have noted. Now we are talking about the period from September to December because we didn't really meet. But I'm also aware that we met as a group in December. And so if you have something that you already shared in December, then you can maybe highlight it. But if you have something that happened in the last 3 weeks, because I know that partners have been very busy, then you can also highlight it. So I'll just go in the order of the way I can see the names on my screen. So the first one is Alok.
Yes, good evening, Karen and everyone. Yes, in the months mentioned, we have been at least doing something. At least our professional skills training is ongoing, and we have the girls in the training center, and they are doing on well. At least their first assessment has been done, and now they can be able to work to make their own clothes. And that was really something within just a period of December. Until now, they can make their own clothes. So that is one success that I have highlighted. And of course, we have already conducted 2 community dialogue. Basically, it was on savings because that was a period whereby people were distributing money from the savings that they had been. So we were trying to look at how can this money not cause domestic violence. So that is what we are looking at. So basically, those were the 2 things I can share with you people. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Jacob. And I think as gender focused, our focus on gender, the last point that you raised is the most important one for me. When we are distributing savings and we are giving them to women, she's not just going to put it in her pocket and use it for herself. She's going to use it in the household, and that may cause issues because of gender relations, and how power is distributed within that household. And so therefore, maybe Jacob, is there something you would share about what did you do to ensure that there is no domestic violence that is caused from distributing these funds?
Okay, I'm glad to share with you people. So Basically, when the money is being distributed, our staffs are always invited. Every distribution at every group. So our staffs are always invited, at least for us to talk to them about gender-related issues. So what we did was like, because in a group, you might realize that, I mean, like the family, husband and the wife, they're both there. So like we were advising them, they have to distribute money and a portion according to the program that they have for development. Like right now, parents are expected now to take back children to school. So we advise them not to cause a lot of havoc in the family. They are supposed to apportion, the money for school fees separately, and then the money for Christmas. It was like during Christmas period.
Yes.
And that is the most critical moment. People want clothes, and maybe like a man also want to save money for school fees. At least we have not realized, or we have not had any issues of violence out of the distribution of the money. So it was like just like telling them to apportion the money according to the way they had planned. Because the reason for saving, they were saving because they want the money to help them in doing something. So we realized that maybe like household development, school fees, health, but most of them was, they want to spend during Christmas and then also have something for school fees. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jacob. Thank you for that. The next person I can see is Florida.
Thank you, Karen. Sarah, we didn't have an agreement, I think, for the since our last agreement in June last year, and then we just have got one in November. So from November, we had a number of activities, which includes we conducted data collection. We have households, which we targeted 100 households, and also we have conducted some focus group discussions with women, boys and girls, men and traditional leaders. Adding on that, we also conducted trainings with women, men, boys, girls on human rights and the legislation and how they can be protected, also where to refer if they face gender-based violence. And then we also sensitized some communities on environmental protection and climate change. And adding on that, we recruited for the 2 learners, that's women, girls, men and boys. On this, we faced a challenge whereby our target was having 30 women and then 17 men and boys. But eventually, those who have enrolled and now have started the training, we got 15 women and girls and then 27 men and boys. This has been a challenge, I think, ever since, because the vocational skills trades we are targeting mostly are taken to be considered as for men, not for women. So when women show interest, they start and then they got being discouraged by either the husbands or fellow women, even men in the community. During recruitment, we tried to involve husbands, that when the women are coming for assessment, they have to be part of the discussion, and then they have also to agree that they are going to encourage the woman to pursue the vocational skill. But then it's still a challenge, but we are still striving on. We also have some activities which we haven't done yet, but we are to start in the second quarter, which is to conduct community dialogue meetings on gender equality, just for disconstruction of gender norms, which I think one of them is what I have just highlighted. And then we are also to train women and girls in financial literacy, focusing on small scale business management, how they can manage their small businesses. And we are also to link learners to employers and also financial institutions, that after they acquire the skills, they should have the capacity to stand on their own, and also maybe to get some capital funds from financial institutions. And then
Thank
we'll
you.
also
Florida,
welcome.
Florida, let me stop you because we just have 2 minutes for each partner. So let us, Leah, let us partners who are about to share, just share with us a highlight or one or a highlight or so of something that we have done so that we can go through everyone and then have enough time. Chandi, you are next.
Karen, for Chandi's presentation, we have received slides from her. So I can share my screen and show her slides, or otherwise I have forwarded you her slides as well. But whichever is most comfortable.
Just share.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Karen and Veronica. Thank you for sharing. I'm joining from my phone, so I think you can hear me, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. So the burning issues at the moment right now prevailing in Sri Lanka under the present economic crisis, I have picked up the most burning issues. That one is that high prevalence of gender-based violence, including vulnerability to robbery, killing, and rape during this situation. And then migrant women's issues, particularly the trafficking. Recently in Oman, we have lots of women's issues happened, and that because of unskilled women migration. And also under this situation, the loss of jobs and unemployment is increasingly highly. And then lack of finance for food and nutrition, medical support, especially the food security is one of the main issue that prevailing in Sri Lanka right now. And high cost of raw materials and school equipment, fuel and electricity, and the debt, especially for the microfinance and the women who have taken loan from the finance companies. They are facing a lot of issues, the repaying the that loans and everything. And then as overall, the economic and political and social unrest, it's highly affected women and girls in Sri Lanka. So you can see the next slide, how they, as general, how they show their stress, especially the strikes, and especially the university girls and the women from all over the Sri Lanka, like they come out and they talks about their issues and all that. This is the scenario and the present situation in this country. And what I would like to go for the next slide, Veronica. Then what are the strategies to empower during this situation as a women's organization? We actually run in a shelter for survivors of SGBV, and we provide psychosocial counseling and legal assistance. And we also provide emergency support for affected women-headed families and also the disabled women who are especially facing for the issues of food security. And we mainly concern about the educational support for school-going children for low-income families. And actually, I have to mention here that we are facing a lots of issues of the pregnant women who are during this period. They face lots of issues of having the facilities, lack of facilities for medical support and other necessary things. So, and then what we are doing, and with the support of Girls Inspire project, we mainly focus of livelihood support for women and girls, and provide the marketing opportunities. And we mainly promote local consumption, especially through the Girls Inspire project. We focus to promote the local food and other product. And also promote women-led small businesses. And also especially we have this established market linkages. We take orders, especially maternity packs, that's low cost items for the pregnant mothers, and also reusable sanitary pads kind of things. And those we made through our women who are engaged with the Girls Inspire project. and they engage with those production, and we sell, and that income will go to them. These are the strategies, and also the revolving funds, that those are the strategies that we are implementing during this period.
Chandy, a few seconds more. Yes. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Shall I stop now, or
No,
I have one point?
Just finish. You're about to finish. Just take about 30 seconds. Or just go on.
Okay. So then we do at the advocacy and lobbying activities, especially we train our stakeholders, those who provide support for the women and girls. So during this period, we work with them, and we especially promote how the women and girls can access resources available within the government and other non-state actors. These are the, because we want to encourage them to be resilient during this period. So these are the areas that we mainly focus. Thank you, Karen. Sorry if I take long time.
No, it's all right. It's all right. Thank you for preparing a presentation for this. That was really good. Before we go on, I'd like to welcome Frances to say hello.
Thank you, Karen. Good morning. It's just necessary to stop the meeting because of me. Thank you. Thank you. I'm listening with keen interest. I managed to start listening to Florida and now to Shandy. Thank you. Proceed with the meeting.
Thank you.
Good morning, Frances.
Thank you. Okay, we shall move on to Zakia. Zakia, you'd like to share with us, just share with us the highlights of what you have done within the past few maybe weeks. Zakia.
Thank you very much, Carol. Highlights of gender activity. Same is from Bangladesh. 12 group of men and boys and traditional leaders have been trained gender equality and equitable behavior. 120 men and boys, as well as 60 traditional leaders have been education through workshop. Organized 8 sessions for men and boys and 4 sessions traditional leader. Traditional leaders, Kaji, Imam, religious, etc. During this period, we have trained 1,000 girls and women. 1,000 girls and women. 3 trades training: dressmaking and tailoring, basic computers, and agro-based. A total of 100 boys and girls participants have been readmitted to school, 12 school, 15 child marriages were stopped, 12 sessions were held with local enterprise for employment women and girls. 32 sessions were implemented on gender-based violence, women rights, human rights, women empowerment. 16 days activism have been celebrated in community through rally, discussion, quiz competition, debate competition, and various sports. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Zakia. Perhaps we would like to say you have done quite a lot within the last few weeks or months, and perhaps maybe when we are discussing on gender-based violence, women's empowerment, you would be a good resource person to talk during those sessions to the rest of the group about what sessions you implemented. Thank you so much. Next, I will go to ADPP. Esther?
And Karen, just I will take 2 seconds to tell you that I'll stop my share screen now, and we can go back to your.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So, ADPP, Esther?
Sabine, you are live
Hi, Karen. Thank you. Just to say, in the last month, we were working on our proposal and we submitted the proposal. But in terms of activities, I think we have not had much going on, except for following up on the groups that we have that received some cash for savings and revolving cash programs. So yeah, we went as back as the older project that we had, where we had a group from a more kind of rural-based community. And where it was mainly women, but they, because of the success and their motivation, they managed to recruit more men to become part of the savings and loan group. And that for us is very encouraging. And the leader, or one of the people that is leading the group, is now the man working with the women, and he's a very dynamic person and well respected in the community. So he's managed really to elevate the issues of gender in his community. And if they have problems, they phone us and they ask for support and information. And secondly, what we've also been trying to do was also check up on the girls and women that we mobilized last year, because the school year registration ends in January. So once the year starts, you can't recruit, you can't enroll students back into school. So those people that we had identified last year, we are managing to send them back to school this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Faith?
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for the opportunity to share what we've done. First of all, we managed to work with paralegals from the magistrates to train women, girls, and men, including people with disabilities, on their protective legislations. So apart from that, we also held a radio program where panelists were discussing about how they can mitigate effects of gender-based violence in their communities. We also had some trainings for lady farmers in an approach called Farmers Field Schools, where women are targeted to learn about sustainable agricultural practices, including climate smart agriculture. Apart from that, we also had trainings where we trained school management committees, we could say school boards, on how they can create safe spaces for learning, especially for girls in schools. Yes, so we've done pretty much all of that, and we've reached out to so many people. Currently, we can say the response has been amazing in the schools, to the farmers, as well as all the trainings on cases of sexual gender-based violences. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Valerie, Reap.
All right, everyone. So I'm just going to share what you've been doing in the past few weeks. So for RIP in Kenya, we have managed to train over 500 women. These include women living with disabilities on different things, we have trained them on stereotypes that fuel different forms of violence. And we have also trained them on how to identify, stop, and prevent various violence that is meted on them. And then we have also trained them on harmful cultural practices, which is very rampant this side. And on the different types of GBV, because we noticed that very many women in the rural setup are usually, they go through violence, they go through gender-based violence, and they don't even recognize that they're being abused. We have trained them on how to respond to different forms of violence, including sexual gender-based violence. That is the 72-hour campaign. And we have also trained them how to preserve evidence in case of any form of violence. We have trained them on the succession rights because women here are disinherited. So we have trained them on succession rights. We have also trained them on economic empowerment, on how they can start and run different enterprises as women. We have managed to hold 2 radio programs in vernacular. And during the radio programs, usually have call-ins where people can just call in and just share their experiences or contribute to the program. We have also managed to interact with the community on social media. We have used Facebook a lot and Twitter. We have managed to hold Twitter spaces. We have identified 12 male champions who we are yet to train. We have also identified 100 boys, young boys, adult and men, who we are going to train on Saturday on positive masculinity and boys to men training. We have also identified the local leaders who we are yet to train. And finally, we have identified schools and communities which we are targeting for tree planting exercise. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Valerie. Thank you for that share. Sabine? Did Sabine drop out? No, Sabine is still here. Sabine?
Hi, hello. Yeah, sorry, I joined a bit late. There was some connectivity issue at my end. The highlights of gender-related activities were basically the sessions, awareness sessions on gender-based violence with men and boys of our targeted communities. Wherever we have our working wherever or the operational communities are, we used to conduct regular sessions with the men and boys of the community and sensitize them mainly about the importance of girls' education and training, because our communities are very marginalized and it's the decision making is mainly with the men of the family. So they have to allow their girls, their daughters, their sisters, their wives to go for the training and all that. This is the regular component of our program, but the main highlight which I find interesting is our our meeting with the EU mission. It was basically on the GSP plus status for Pakistan. But I found some very interesting figures and statistics around working women in the industries, and the pay gap and the issues they are facing, and how we can raise voice around these issues. So that was very interesting series of consultations with the EU mission. And recently, an event was organized by the Ministry of Human Rights here. That was also around business and human rights, and Spark was, one of the participants. And it was also very interesting to know. And we also use these forums to share our experience of working with so many girls, young girls and women, as we also know some of their challenges which they face, especially the girls who are out of school, who have no opportunities at all of education and training, and even they have otherwise issues like health and all that. So on the one hand we shared our experience, and on the other hand we received so many other information and stories from the other parts of the society, especially the girls who are in the industrial sectors, working with the very formal employment and their issues and their challenges, which hopefully I'll write in my in the quarterly report and share with all of you. These were the highlights of this time. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Sabine. And Dinalao?
Thank you, Karen.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Karen. And luckily this time my network did not throw me out. We last from October, we had a training at Farm Besares, which is almost 200 kilometers from Windhoek. So during this training, I had a chance to meet the traditional leaders, whereby I was creating awareness for mitigating gender-based violence in their community. And in this meeting, I realized, I found out that there are children there in that community that never attended school because the nearest school is 70 kilometers.
Wow. Okay.
From their community. So I have to write letters to the directors of education, to the deputy directors, and to the second inspectors. So my letters got the attention of the director, and he responded last year that this year they are going to do something about the children. So it's just a matter of time for me to revert back to them and then find out how far are they to find the solutions to those children, because a girl child who never attended school, and some of those children, some are living with disabilities, and my surprise, some of them, they don't even have birth certificates.
Okay.
Which is totally marginalizing them, and they are not included in all, and their rights are also, not met.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the other thing we did, we concluded our year with our graduations early December, where we had our cohort 40 for tailoring. And in this cohort 40 is not only women. We happen to have one man who also have attended tailoring for 3 months, and it gave a good image and a message that tailoring or sewing is not only for men, for women, but men can also, what they say, what a man do, a woman can do better, but I'm doing it the other way. What a woman can do, a man can also do better.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Those are the things that we did.
Okay, thank you very much. Zakia, did Zakia share? Yes, Zakia already shared. Have I left anyone out? Yapo is not in today. I want to say thank you very much. And perhaps when we are looking at all of these things that have happened and the activities that the program has been having, we can develop a consciousness of trying to say, what are the main gender issues that I have noticed? For example, like the one that I asked Alok to expand a little on. When you give money to women, what happens within the household when that woman now has the economic power to make decisions? That is a gender issue. That is an issue where we look at the dynamics between men and women. And if we go back to our slides, I know we don't have that much time, but I would still like to go through these slides. If we go back to our slides and we look at the gender equality continuum that we discussed the last time, if we are talking about a goal of gender equality, are there some things that are being done, or are there some things that are in the communities that either reinforce gender inequalities and make things worse for women, or are we leading towards change that we call gender transformative, where we are talking about the unequal gender relations between men and women, and what can we do as gender liaisons to be aware that sometimes the programs that we are running may cause issues in the community that are gender related and may leave the people that we are trying to help a little bit worse off. Because if I get an income because I have learned a skill, and that income is taken away from me, it means that I am just as worse off than when the program did not help me learn about that livelihood skill. So it's important that as gender officers or as gender liaisons, we are able to constantly advise our programs that there are issues that may arise out of the activities that are held, and how can we then help to make sure that these issues do not affect the women and girls we are trying to help in a negative manner. And that is really the topic of our conversation today on gender analysis. Because when we are conducting any program, we want to start with data that helps us to know who are the recipients in our program, who are we trying to reach. But when we are trying to get that information, it is not just to say that, oh, in our program, we have identified that there are 1,000 women in this area. There are 500 girls who are out of school. That is not the most important data. That data is the one that helps us then to do what we call gender analysis. And so gender analysis is we collect information and we process that information. So the UNDP says that it's a method for collecting and processing information about gender. So when we get this information, what does it first do? It gives us disaggregated data by sex, in that we know that there are 40 boys who are out of school, there are 70 girls who are out of school. That is sex disaggregated data, so that we know that we are dealing with 110 children. But these children, 40 are boys, 70 are girls. But then it also helps us to understand the social construction of gender roles. Why are these boys out of school? Why are these girls out of school? What do they do when they are out of school? Are the boys out of school because they are expected to go and get income for the family? Are the girls out of school because they are doing household chores? And so we see that gender roles comes into play. So our gender analysis does not only collect that information and say how many boys, how many girls, but we also go a step further to try to understand, why are these people out of school? What are they doing out of school? And so our gender analysis is a tool. It helps the organization to improve the understanding of the context in which they work in. What are the social issues in that place? What are the economic issues, or what are the cultural and political issues that are facing the people that we are trying to work with? And then if we do a gender analysis at the program or the design stage, it helps us to understand at each and every stage after that, when we are implementing a program, we understand the circumstances of the people we are working with. When we are doing monitoring and evaluation, we are able to say that we have moved, maybe there were 30 girls who were not able to earn a livelihood because of gender roles. We have been able to train 20 of them, and they have been able to overcome the discriminatory norms, and now they're going to earn a living. So during M&E, it also helps us. And then it's also, when we do a gender analysis, we are making recommendations for integration of gender into the program. As the gender liaisons, we're able to keep asking the program, how is this going to transform gender roles and relations? How is it going to make the livelihoods of women that we are training them? How is it going to make this sustainable? So as the gender officer, you will keep on making your input into all the steps of a program. So therefore, we say that gender analysis is important because it helps us to create a baseline for assessment of a program to see how successful we are. It also shows us what is the connection between development and gender relations. Are we bringing in development and also improving gender relations and ensuring that women have safe spaces to work in, to learn in, that women are able to be entrepreneurs without being afraid that their income will be taken away. Then gender analysis also shows us how are our actions going to impact on the society. Are they realistic? Are they culturally sensitive? So that interventions that come in do not cause more problems than were initially in that particular community. And gender analysis also helps us to see that policy and program implementation cannot be gender neutral. We cannot just simply say we are going to implement a program and everybody will benefit from it the same way. Gender analysis helps us to see, if we implement any program, how is it going to affect women? How is it going to affect men? How is it going to change the lives of boys and girls? How is it going to impact on those persons living with disabilities? So it shows us that gender analysis helps us to see that when we are implementing a program, we cannot just implement it for everybody in the same way. So when we are talking about understanding the context. I'm skipping one slide because of time. When we are talking about understanding the context, gender analysis helps us to avoid stereotypes. Sometimes women are seen as completely helpless, but we know from reality that that is not true. That women have ways of asserting their influence even when they don't have formal power. They're not the head of the household, but their say in that household has some weight, or they have a way of influencing things that are done within the community, even if they're not standing up in front of everybody to speak about it. So we need to recognize the women's ways of asserting influence, of asserting their opinions, even when they are not necessarily community leaders. When we talk about understanding context, we are also saying that we don't see women as homogeneous, or we don't see men as homogeneous. What does that mean? Everybody is not the same. Women or men may have the same experiences, but their experiences depend on certain things. If I am educated, if I have an income, if I can control or if I have access to a farm, or I can control the things that we grow on the farm, I am different from another woman who may not have an education, who may not be able to determine what is grown on the farm, who may not be able to sell it. So we are in the same community, but we share the same experiences, but we have different things that affect us. And also, when we talk about understanding the context, we are talking about looking at multiple sources of inequality, multiple ways in which people experience discrimination and exclusion. How is it that, what does my social class allow me into? What does my education allow me into? Or what am I discriminated against because of my caste, or because of my color, or because of whether I am rich or poor? So doing a gender analysis means that we need to understand the context in which we are working. And for all our countries, contexts might be similar, but they are also very, very different. And so this is important in a gender analysis, because a gender analysis cannot be the same for all partners that are in all the countries that we work in. So I'd like to maybe just go briefly into something called practical and strategic gender needs. This is something we all know, or maybe have an experience in. So if we look at the needs of gender, because that's why we do an analysis, to understand the needs of people, we have practical gender needs, and practical gender needs are things that are based on the responsibilities and the tasks that are associated with gender roles. For example, in many communities, it is women who look after children. So that is a responsibility or a gender role. They may be fetching water. The men may be tilling the land. They may be looking after the livestock. They may be building houses. They may be going out to work to earn an income. So these are gender roles that are accepted or that are known within a community, and they are practical gender needs. And they are based on the circumstances in which people live and work. We need food, we need shelter, we need to be safe. We need money in order to be able to send our children to school. So these are the immediate circumstances that are thought of as practical gender needs. When these practical gender needs are met, it does not necessarily change the lives of men and women in terms of their position in society. For example, if we used to have to go to the river to go and get water, and that is a practical need because everybody needs water for washing, for cooking, for drinking, and so on. Women used to go to the river to get that water. Then a tap is put in the village, but women are still the ones going to the tap to get the water. That means that it does not change their position. They are still the ones that are getting the water. So it can transform people's lives, because maybe we are spending less time going for that water, and so we have more time to do things that have to improve our livelihoods. Maybe we have more time to attend training in order to learn how to make things that we can sell. But it has not necessarily changed the roles of men and women. And so we come to strategic gender needs, and these ones are looking at the status of women in society. And this is a lot of the work that we are doing within the Girls Inspire. when we teach about changing discriminatory gender norms, when we teach women and girls about human rights and how to protect themselves, when safe spaces are created for children to go into school, when we look at open and distance learning and open schools and how we can ensure that people are going into them, we have a way of changing and empowering people so that we are able to transform their lives. Again, going back to when we talked about equality, we are looking towards transformation. And that is what the Girls Inspire program is trying to do. Ensure that the community understands why it's important to empower women and girls and persons with disabilities, then provide training and then provide livelihood skills so that we can transform men and women within that community. So I'd like us to think a little bit. What are some of the practical gender needs and strategic gender needs of men and women in your community or in your organization? This is an issue that we can think about and that we can then come and discuss when we are having the next session, which is also on gender analysis and application. For now, we may have run out of time because I can see it's already 9 o'clock. So please just indulge me for one more minute as we just go through a small exercise. I would like us to look at this slide and ask ourselves, which ones on this? Oh, I want to delete that. Which ones of these are practical gender needs and which ones on this are strategic gender needs? Maybe let's look at the first one. Food aid is given to a community. Is that a practical gender need or a strategic gender need? Anybody can reply.
Practical.
That is practical. Thank you very much, Mzi. That's practical because it deals with an immediate need, which is food. Number 2, adult literacy classes. Is that a practical need or a strategic need?
Strategic.
Thank you very much. Yes, that's a strategic need. It aims at transforming the life of somebody. Number 3, maternity or paternity leave. Is that a strategic need or a practical need?
Practical need.
Practical need, yes, thank you. Number 4, changing or introducing laws to ensure land ownership for women. Strategic. Number 5, women-run childcare centers. Practical. Why not strategic?
It's a strategy.
I think it's
strategy. It's both.
one at a time. Maybe one person who would like to go ahead and allow
both.
Because
you know what, this one, it's women need a center where they can leave their children, and at the same time it's also transforming them, you know.
Okay, who says it is a practical one?
Yeah, for me, I said it is practical.
Yes, Alok.
Yeah, because I see in this scenario, the center is already operating. And the children are already getting the knowledge, the care that the children deserve. So that the women can do other things. Yeah, because now it is already in place. That is to me.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you.
Is it who normally takes care of children? Remember, we said that it is the women. And so the the care center may not necessarily change gender relations within the community. It helps the women in that perhaps maybe like 10 children can be taken care of by one mother today and another mother the next day and so on. It may free them up and so has transformatory potential. And so it is dealing with practical gender needs because it is not changing necessarily. Running the center is not changing the women's position in society. But we are saying it has the potential to transform because then it allows the other women, especially like if it's done on a rotational basis, it allows the women time to be able to tend to their enterprises or to their farms or to even go into training. So it's a practical gender need. The next one is the village tap with clean drinking water. Is that practical or strategic?
Practical.
That is practical. Thank you very much. Affirmative action. Affirmative action in employment is strategic. Thank you very much. Strategic, yes. Number 8, equal participation in elections and representation. Strategic. Allowing mothers with young children to work from home. Working from home for mothers with young children. Is that practical or strategic?
It's practical.
That is practical. Yes, that is practical. And then training and jobs for women in ICT and STEM.
Still practical.
That is strategic. That is strategic because of the transformation. That's this transformation. That is transformation. So I want to say thank you very much. I want to stop here, and hopefully we remember this exercise for the next slides that we are going to have on application of gender analysis. We shall be able to discuss a little bit more in that next meeting that will be held next month. So I want to say thank you very much. Perhaps if there are any burning questions and comments or concerns, I'd like to just give everybody 10 seconds to say goodbye. But if you have a burning comment and concern, you can add that concern or comment in another 2 seconds. Okay, thank you. Saradi, we can start with you.
Thank you.
Yes,
not much burning. I just want to thank everyone. Thank you, Karen, for the insights. Looking forward for more details on gender analysis. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ndinalao.
Thank you so much, Karen, and everyone. So it was really an informative session. We are looking forward to the following one.
Thank you. Muzi?
Thank you. It's the controversial one on the water tap, but we can discuss in the next meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Chandi?
Thank you, Karen. It's a very informative session. And I think we have followed the gender women empowerment course, cohort 2. And I think Sakya was also there. So we learned a lot from Dr. Damu, and I would love to share what we have learned through that session in my next sessions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, you will. Thank you so much. Oh, somebody has dropped out. Zakia?
Thank you very much for a wonderful session. This session is very informative and helpful for us. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Valerie?
Thank you so much. The session has been very informative. I have managed to learn so many things today, and I'm really looking forward to the next session. Thank you.
Thank you. We've gone through who am I looking at? Sabine?
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Karen. And we always learn so much from Cole team. So it's an ongoing learning process. And thank you for the very a nice presentation.
Thank you so much. Faith?
Thank you so much for the session, really informative. I liked the last slide. The exercise made it very easy to understand the whole concept. Thank you. Looking forward to the next one.
Thank you so much. Alok?
Yeah, thank you so much, Karen, and everybody. Though I was the only man in the house, and that is good. You know, you need a man to control the session. Thank you.
Really?
And looking forward to the next one. Thank you.
I am not going to answer that. Frances. Frances.
Thank you. Thank you, Karen. And thank you for a great session. It's always good for those of you who don't know. I have been sitting back and watching Karen and Veronica doing most of the work and most of the talk. And it's actually a good feeling to watch how people can blossom, that you have contributed to their mentoring. But it's also even more exciting to listen to the partners when they speak, to see how they have evolved. Yesterday, I was looking at a document and I came across an email from Spark, the chief executive with whom, the executive director with whom we started the Girls Inspire. Her name is Sadia. And in that email, she said to me, it is the first time that we are using this template, etc., etc., etc. And I'm looking at it and I'm smiling and I'm thinking, we have forgotten all of that because people have just evolved and they just immensely immersed in all of it. And so it is really heartwarming to see how much you all have, even the latecomers who just joined last year or the year before. And Alok, you do have a very strong voice today, because I think that's the only male voice that I have heard. And I think it's because of males like you that we can make progress as women, because you are propagating for gender equality and promoting the rights not only of men but of women. So we know the other partners have females on this, not because they're not interested, but because of distribution of labor. But I always found it very interesting in any committee, when it is the gender, they will tell a woman to go and represent the partner. So I'm very happy that you, as the chief executive of your organization, is also the gender liaison. That is very encouraging. But we don't need you to control the meeting.
I was just joking. I was just joking.
We know. I know. I want to joke back. I want to joke back at you and to say, we really need you to provide advice from the male perspective as to why you see things so differently. So that is the balance that you bring to this meeting. And in the end, it can be some sort of a control mechanism, but not in the joke that you said it, but it is indeed the correct word in the end, that you bring that balance. So there is a control mechanism. So thank you so much, everybody. I'm not sure of my plans, but if it works out, I may see some of you in Southern Africa within the next month, but I cannot even say which country. I'm having a meeting with my boss today, and then I'll see if I'm allowed. I'll see some of you within the next month, God willing. But for now, thank you so much, Karen and Veronica. You had quite a good participation today. I also want to encourage partners to please fill in the evaluation, because that really is also an encouraging instrument for call to see whether we have achieved our goal for the meeting. And Veronica, this number of partners in the meeting becomes part of your data for trained. Yes. But you will also add this to the data where you said they have completed and they have indicated that they have learned. So there is such an indicator also. Okay, everybody, good night, good evening, wherever you are, and enjoy your day, Veronica and Karen. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Francis.
Thank you,
Francis.
So, Veronica,
thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, bye.
Yes, Karen,
Bye.
thank you. If I could just take 1 minute of everyone's time to just say something, but I see that people are probably logging out quickly.
Just
yes.
go ahead. Go
okay.
ahead.
Thank you, Francis, for joining us today and for your lovely encouragement. It always is something nice to hear for Karen and me. And Karen, thank you for your presentation. And that exercise in the end was quite fun. I was holding back all my answers. I wish I could have also participated, but I wanted the partners to give those answers. And a thank you to all our partners, because it is always great to hear the gender targeted activities that everyone is doing with so much hard work. And I wanted to quickly also just send out a reassurance, because I've been getting emails from our partners about the OneDrive link and the SOFA templates and the deliverable templates. So I have responded to your emails, but rest assured, I am working on them and you will get them as soon as possible.
Okay.
And thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. And thank you for allowing us to take a little bit more of your time that we normally do. And I just want to wish everybody a good evening, a good afternoon, good morning to us here. And we shall meet next month. Thank you very, very much. Goodbye.
Thank you, Karen.
Goodbye, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.